All right, guys. I have an idea. All right, Halloween's kick-ass and awesome. Okay, you get candy, you get drunk with your friends, you dress up and pretend that you're not you. Like, what else could you want? All right, Christmas is about, like, family and bullshit. So what I'm saying is we come up with a sequel to Christmas, right? That's Christmas, but we just crank up the Christmas to ridiculous levels. For instance, what if Santa had bat wings?
Nice.
I like it.
Feeling it.
Okay. All right. What if Santa had the legs of a spider?
Give me that Santa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if Santa wore tiny glasses and knew philosophy?
Doesn't he wear
sense.
tiny glasses
Okay.
already?
You know what?
Only when he's
That's a good
reading
point.
"'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
I like the philosophy part though.
All right,
Keep
so
What
I'm gonna
if
go
he
ahead.
had a vegetable ass?
Ooh.
Oh.
Now you're
Like
talking.
his butt cheeks were made of little vegetables.
I like that idea.
Well, I mean, I think all of this has already been done, right? So,
Well, no, wait,
let's-
Greg, you didn't hear my last one. My last one was
Okay.
what if Christmas also bombs out corporate headquarters?
Well, you
Right?
know, I think we need to table that because a lot of this has happened, and let's just go ahead and take Christmas out. Let's go ahead and take Santa out,
Oh.
and let's make it not Christmas and
Oh.
Gremlins instead.
Oh.
Because this week we watched 1990's Gremlins 2: The New Batch.
Scared. Yeah, brother.
Stabby Stabby.
Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Stabby Stabby. I'm one of your hosts, Greg, and today I am drinking a Treehouse Brewing Very Hazy American Double IPA, an 8.6 bad boy, so it'll be a good
Hello.
evening. Hey, Eric, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking an all-day IPA, just doing some sessions. 4.7, not quite the 8 category, but I am on my third one, and I'm probably going to crack another one. So, yeah, just riding some sessions out, and I'm excited for today's Gremlins 2 New Batch discussion. Dan, what's going on with you?
Hey. Well, I am. I'm glad to be here. I'm drinking a Trogs Mad Elf, which comes in at about 11%. It says it's supposed to taste like cherries, yeast, and wildflower honey, but all I taste is alcohol. I heard some other voices on the call here. Who's here? Who's in this abyss with us? Who have we welcomed to our stabby cavern?
I'm here. My name's Jess.
Yay! Jess is
Hey,
back!
all right.
I'm drinking Cooper's Craft Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey with some Diet Dr. Pepper. So
Hell yeah!
Nice.
Nice.
pretty tasty.
Mix it up.
Yeah.
I heard another voice.
Mm. Yes, with my co-host.
Whoa!
What's
I'm
up?
Paul. Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi,
Hey,
Paul.
Paul.
How are you?
Well,
I'm doing fantastic. I'm drinking my tears from yesterday. No, I'm drinking proper 12 Irish whiskey 101 proof, followed with a Hawaiian Punch Orange Dream Chaser.
Hell yeah!
nice. Excellent.
Badass. Yo, Jess and Paul, I rumor has it that you guys are from another podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah. Do you wanna do that, Paul? Or do you want me to do that?
This is all you. This is all you.
What the fuck?
I didn't mean to spring asking you about your podcast on you or anything.
Throw me under
How
the
dare
fucking
you?
bus.
How
Why
dare
would you do
No,
that?
I can go. What the fuck is wrong with what is
God
this
damn it.
Bush League shit?
They want to
Fucking
plug
A.
us, Paul. What the fuck?
No, I don't know. I'm nervous.
This is not
It's new
Gremlins
people.
2.
This isn't Gremlins 2 at all. This
isn't what I
We're
prepared
comparing
for.
apples to oranges, honestly.
Damn it.
Oh, that was a nice segue. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Such a
our
surprise.
podcast is called Apple to Oranges, where we talk about the shows that we want to talk about.
That's the best kind of
from-
podcast.
Apple T-
Yeah, and I've pretty much just become a professional listener on that show lately.
Nice.
well, that's because the only show we had, well, not this week, but the last week or two was just the morning show. So it really has just been June. talking about the morning show and us listening. So
So it's kind of turned into a storytelling podcast, is what it sounds like. All right, that's nice.
a little
But
bit,
it's strictly Apple TV shows, right? That you guys are.
Yes.
Yeah, except for in the intro, we talk about whatever the fuck we want. So
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Cool.
Kind of like here, just we do it with booze.
yeah,
yeah.
sometimes it's Disney movies. Other times it's fucking, I don't know. What else have we talked about in the intro?
Other times it's just
Doom
fucking.
Patrol.
It's a really mature podcast.
Yeah, man, we're really good at what we do.
Nice, that's badass. Yo, Jess, you've been on the podcast before. We really enjoyed chilling with you. So that was
thanks.
Radioactive Dreams, right? That was
Yeah.
a fucking baller episode. I love
that was
movie.
super fun. Yeah, it was really good. In fact, I was thinking about when I was watching this, when I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh shit, like you guys have to bring me on for something that I don't like, because I'm gonna look like really ridiculous in my ratings. So
we'll
I
get
think
there.
eventually that won't be a problem.
okay, good. Good.
Well, we'll touch on apples to oranges again at the end of the episode, but I'm pumped to have you guys here. It's gonna be a full house, so buckle up. I've never seen Gremlins 2 beginning to end before in my life before yesterday. So
Oh, nice.
I'm excited to talk about this movie. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Who picked this movie? Was this a Greg pick?
She's so disappointed. Well, I think we
dude,
picked we I think we just picked it over the course of like the last like 3 months, because
Yeah.
we just talked about like, oh, we started talking about Gremlins 2 during another episode, and we were like, well, we might as well just do this movie eventually. So it's not quite the obscure or weirdo or bad movie that we normally talk about, but sometimes you just need what do they call it, fun. And we opted to go with this for now. And also, I forgot it wasn't a Christmas movie, so sorry, it's in December.
No
I like that
worries.
you-
That's okay.
whoops.
Yeah. You couch all those clarifiers by saying we usually watch obscure, bad, and weird movies, but instead we watch Gremlins 2. And I'm like, well,
I mean,
know.
at least it's not obscure
well, I don't know. Is
or
it not?
bad.
Different strokes for different
Yeah.
folks.
I'm waiting for the 4K release. The first one got the treatment. The second one, not yet. So
Really? I'm shocked to hear that. This is
Yeah.
I like this much more than the first Gremlins.
I'm gonna agree. I'm
Yeah.
gonna agree on that.
This is far more
Gotta get it.
entertaining.
we'll get into it.
All right, well, yeah. Why don't we just hop into this plot,
Let's do
break
it.
down every character and scene, and ruin the movie for anyone that's like, damn, I had never seen it before. So
All right, let's all
do
get
it.
out our hoses and spray Greg down and watch the plot bust out his back.
Oh.
That is
Well.
disgusting.
I think it's gonna be hot. Here we go.
Now let's get to the plot.
Gremlins 2, The New Batch, from 1990, directed by Joe Dante, opens up on a Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck cartoon, and then we get a quick cut to the New York skyline and the title screen. From
Can I
there,
can I interrupt
of
you?
course, because it's literally the first 4 seconds. You might as well interrupt.
All I want
What
to
could
say.
have possibly happened?
All I want to say on my inaugural watch was when the cartoon kicked in, my first note is, oh, this is a children's movie. I just want to leave that thought out there because
Yeah.
it is not a children's movie, but that was my first impression. All right, carry on.
So we now move to Chinatown, where Mr. Wing from the first Gremlins still has Gizmo, and a man named Forster comes in with a video of Daniel Clamp, who is basically the Donald Trump of this movie, who is offering to buy Mr. Wing's store because he's building a new Chinatown complex. He's a city designer or whatever. I don't know jobs that aren't my jobs. Mr. Wing refuses to sell, but he's got a pretty wicked cough going on. Forrester leaves the TV there, and Gizmo turns on the TV and watches a little bit of Rambo, which is pretty sweet.
It's pretty adorable. Can we talk about how cute Gizmo is? Just for a sec, one time.
He's so cute.
He's the cutest thing.
He's
He's
cute.
super
He's-
cute.
He's even cuter in this movie than he was in the
He's
first one.
adorable.
You get a little bit more movement from him in this one.
Oh yeah,
You know,
you get full body.
yeah.
from
He's
Gizmo.
he's more expressive.
I also like that
Yes.
they just torture him through the whole movie. That makes him cuter when he's being tortured every 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He was tortured in the advertising, because I remember going to the theater like every fucking week when I was a kid, and there was this huge like cardboard display of Gremlins 2 like a year before the movie came out, and it was like he was in the cabinet, and like the Gremlin guy was like putting his arm would move to put the cigarette out.
Jesus.
Like, that was, like, I saw that, like, every weekend, and I'm, like, 6, and I'm, like, crying every time I come out of, like, a fucking cartoon movie. I'm like, what's happening to that little cat thing, Daddy?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, like, they didn't shy that he was gonna get fucked up in this.
So now we jump 6 weeks later, and we're introduced to Clamp Tower, and we learn that Mr. Wing has died, and Clamp can now build up his big Chinatown complex, and they're demolishing the building.
Can we talk about the video that they show at
Sure.
in the store? Yeah, the one line that Mr. Clamp proceeds to tell them is that Clamp Chinatown Center is
where business gets oriented.
and then he lets out a little chuckle after he says it. Like, yeah,
it's brutal.
Racism.
It's a pretty funny joke.
It's pretty bad.
Especially because, like, the first time I watched it this week, I just completely missed that. And the second time I was just like, oh shit, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's certainly a thing.
Yeah, it won't be the last time they say Orient either.
No.
oh, you're right. Yeah.
It's a recurring thing. Yeah, some of the humor in this, humor is the first thing that doesn't age well. We can assume the best about these folks,
Right.
Other than all the other anti-immigrant underpinnings in this movie's story. But we're not going to get into that. We're here to have fun. It's Gremlins 2, y'all.
Yeah, but if you think of like Clamp as a Trump, asshole
yeah,
type, then it kind of
totally.
floats.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Also, that idea of like gentrifying a neighborhood for business is totally what the local residents want for higher rent and whatever. I just needed the opening of this movie to make me feel like even more miserable thanks to current events. That's fine. Hold on. I'm gonna take a swig of this beer.
Yeah, but Bugs Bunny and Daffy should help.
The chaser was right there.
Yeah.
They should cheer you.
Chuck Jones not do his job.
Oh man. All right, so yeah, we jump 6 weeks later. Mr. Wing's dead. Clamp has purchased the area, and we get a shot inside the Mr. Wing store as construction starts destroying it, and Gizmo escapes from his little cage, and he runs outside into like an alley, and he's grabbed by a nerdy mustached man, and from there we cut to Times Square. All right, so Gizmo has been kidnapped, or Mogwai napped, and we cut to Times Square, where we re-meet Billy and Kate, who are heading to Clamp Tower because that's where they work. Billy and Kate are from the first movie. Kate gives tours of Clamp Tower, and Billy is, I guess you would call it, an architectural artist, right?
Yeah, just
Sure.
a graphic designer too.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
illustrator,
He's a
artist,
he draws.
just handsome man.
Yeah, that's his.
Has great relationships with everybody that works in
Yeah.
the building.
Yeah, like I work at a big building and I don't talk to anyone. It's the worst.
He knows everybody.
I don't like people. So we see a little bit of Billy's work. We meet his boss Marla, and Forrester comes in, the guy from the beginning, and sees a drawing that Billy did of Kingston Falls, which is the town from the first Gremlins movie, and he basically like trashes it. It says that he shouldn't be having things hanging up like that because they spend a lot of money on like very accessible like art for everyone to enjoy and for the building to look uniform, and that's why corporate culture is horrible.
I was like, I think we have that art in our building.
I think so, yeah.
It's a circle and a triangle. I've seen that before.
So abstract.
I mean, we all know that one of the definitions of true art, like capital A art, is that it's color coordinated with our brand identity.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah. Point 1, brand synergy. Point 2, find some way to communicate an element of human experience that can't be spoken through language. It's
yeah,
in that
definitely
order
brand
as well.
synergy first,
So.
though. Yeah, absolutely.
Of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We get a little quick scene in the building's control room of Forrester firing an old man for taking an unauthorized smoke break.
You son of a bitch.
That poor guy.
That's an unauthorized break period, my friend. You don't work here anymore. Do we have a problem communicating? You're gone. Terminated. End of medical benefits. That's right. Clean out the desk, 1 hour. And thanks so much.
His face was so tragic. They found like an old guy in the street and were like, "Look at me sad. You're perfect."
Here's a sandwich.
I mean,
Yeah, he was great.
the scene also like it still completely applies to this year because like as he fires him, he makes a comment that like your health benefits are done starting today as well, and things like
you're
that.
right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is like, I don't want to. We should not get too political, but this movie is totally riding a wave that like you just said, that idea that an employer gets to control your health benefits and therefore they kind of control your life. Also, later on, we're gonna have a scene with the vampire horror host. Is that the next scene? Where he pretty much gives like a Marxist monologue right at the start of this movie, which is pretty great. I loved it.
Yeah,
That made me happy.
You can run with that because I didn't write any of that down. We do get the introduction of Grandpa Fred, who is an old horror movie host for Clamp Cable Network, and he's dressed as old Dracula.
The attack of the octopus people. That's tonight's movie, and boy, is it scary. Oh, it's so scary it'll uncross your eyes. It's a good thing that your Grandpa Fred is here to protect you.
And apparently he and Billy are friends for some reason. And he talks about how he got into like journalism because he wanted to be a news anchor. Like he wanted to do stories that are important to people in the world. And now he's just like hosting old horror movies at like 3 a.m., which I think sounds like the best fucking job.
I would watch that. All
Hard
that shit.
same.
Yeah, the show that he's showing on his television there is a movie that Rick Baker, it was his first monster that he ever created. So he did all the special effects for this.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's cool.
For Gremlins, too.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's a nice little...
Do you know what
callback
movie it
there.
was?
I don't actually, no. Yeah.
Well,
I'll look that up.
That's
It's like a
pretty
ru-
sweet that they throw in a nod to the guy working on the movie, right? That's badass.
Yeah. And apparently, like, Dante was begging him to do the effects, and he was like, I'm good. I don't need to do Gremlins. And he allowed him to select different types of Gremlins. So Rick Baker was one of the ones that helped come up with, like, all the different variations to keep it interesting for him so he could build things he never built before. So they worked hand in hand to create some of those unique Gremlins. I thought that was pretty interesting.
the Gremlins and the Mogwais looked awesome in this movie.
Oh my god, it was so good.
They were great.
And they nailed scale too. Like there's a sequence later on with the spider gremlin that even though I know in my head that spider was probably like 3 feet tall, that thing looked fucking huge. It was great. All the puppet work that we can say right from the start, all the puppets are fucking fabulous.
Oh,
They
yes.
They're so
have
good.
aged so well. Yeah. So expressive
Yeah.
and I don't know how they got some of the shots where they're like picking up, like when they pick up the little mogwais and they're like squirming around in their hands. I don't know how they do that shit, but it looked
well, the
great.
acting too of the actors like with the puppets like was like spot on. Like they all did like such a good job. Like they were all like giving it everything, which is kind of crazy for a sequel if you think about it, you know.
Seriously, yeah, really great physical performances all around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, sometimes when the puppet was on the actor, it was them controlling it
Yeah.
with their like free hand,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty amazing. That's awesome.
Wow,
That's so
it's
cool.
a lot of trust to put in your actors. Yeah,
And also
it's
keeping
great.
consistency of movement too. And it
Right,
looked
yeah.
it looked solid. Yeah.
But if the A plot is the gremlins going crazy and taking over the city, and the B plot is like the relationship drama, the like little triangle relationship between the guy and the 2 girls, then like the themes, the C plot would definitely be like corporate life taking over individual life, like commodifying individual contributions and separating workers from the product of their labor. And the vampire guy just sums it all up really nicely in a little monologue about how sad he is that this thing that he's passionate about is being pushed farther and farther into a corner. It was really touching. It really like set up the tone for the whole movie. It's not just beating gremlins. It's also like trying to give Clamp a soul. Which, in the context of this movie, was pretty fun to watch. But then I kept thinking about in real life how that would be impossible to do to Trump. That man is devoid of soul. So, oh well. Thanks, Gremlins 2. It was fun to dream with you.
Yeah, the one thing they were saying was they originally had Clamp as the villain, but then when they cast this actor, he was so likable, they changed his character up a little bit. So
John Glover, yeah. He's also the crazy scientist that kills Pam Beasley in fucking Batman and Robin.
Jesus.
No way.
Oh.
What a likable guy.
He's awesome.
This cast is stacked. You got fucking Christopher Lee in this, man.
Oh,
my
man,
God.
he does not disappoint. Like, he just goes so far with, like, God, I love him so much.
Dude, I could listen to Christopher Lee read the phone book,
Yeah.
and I'd finish. Yeah.
If there's any Breaking Bad fans, fucking Tuco Salamanca's in this.
Wait, what?
Oh, is that the delivery guy?
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
hell yeah.
Oh,
It's fucking
nice.
Tuco.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
That's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
I thought he looked familiar. Thanks, Paul.
I like that Christopher Lee's character's name's Dr. Catheter.
Yeah. So we're gonna meet him right now.
Okay.
Because we go from Grandpa Fred and we move up to actually the first 25 minutes of this movie is just saying here's all the characters you're gonna see for a while, and then we'll get into the fun stuff. So yeah, we move up to Spice of Life Inc., which is a genetics research laboratory in the building.
No, Splice of like.
What did I say? Spice of Life?
Yeah,
I have it literally written down as Splice, but
Yeah.
all right.
That's a great name for a genetics lab.
We're at Splice of Life.
Greg's
And,
dyslexic.
yeah.
Can we start a restaurant that's just all GMO food called Splice of Life?
GMO.
That sounds awesome.
We got
Get a side of flu vaccine. Sorry, carry on.
we got
diarrhea on the way out.
We've got Tuco. Tuco, the delivery man, is dropping off a package. He hears Gizmo's whistle song. We also meet Dr. Catheter, played by Christopher Lee, as we mentioned. And we see how they're doing different experiments on all types of animals there. There are two twin doctors. They show Dr. Catheter Gizmo, who then proceeds to dance to music and tries to run away. And they talk about how they're going to start experimenting on him and dissecting Gizmo. Question, are they twins or are they clones? Because they make the clone joke, but I didn't know.
They're clones.
They've got to be clones, right?
Clones.
Come on.
All right.
They work in a
Totally.
genetics lab and they cast twins. We're supposed to think they're clones.
All right. Works for me.
Okay, wait, I have a different question. Do you think the clone grew a brother for himself? Or do you think that Dr. Catheter hired a guy and then cloned him and made him work with him?
I like to think there's multiple clones. They just keep killing each other over and over.
They have a closet full of that guy?
Yeah, they're just all dead in the basement.
I think it's Moon.
Like, fuck you, number 45.
Yeah, like Venture Brothers. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
The kids, yeah.
Like when he dies from being splashed in the face with acid, he just tells the other guy oh, go in the basement, past the mops, go past the utility sink, open the door. There's 40 more. Just pick one out.
Go get number 73.
I like that Dr. Catheter was holding a giant seed pod at one point, which is an Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I guess,
yeah.
reference.
Oh, shit.
And there's also a cow with a helmet, and it
Yeah.
was I am calm and centered. I enjoy giving milk. It was the funniest thing in the movie. I loved it.
I just love the interior design of the lab. When they were getting someone to decorate, hey, can you just paint this red and white and just make it look all fucked up for people?
I mean,
we want to look devious.
it definitely had that circus tent kind of feel to it as you were walking to the back.
Before it was a lab, it was the headquarters for a paintball team. And they nailed it.
Nailed it. Good. So now we're back at Billy's desk, and he hears the delivery man whistling Gizmo's song, and he learns that this guy had heard it in the laboratory.
Excuse me, where'd you hear that?
What?
That music, where did you hear it?
Oh, da 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 da. Oh, isn't that by Sting?
No, it's not by Sting. Think.
Oh,
Where were
hey,
you?
I know. I was up in that laboratory, in 51, and somebody was like humming it.
So Billy then goes up there, claims he's fixing the printer and sneaks in, steals Gizmo and takes him back first to the bathroom where they have a nice little scene. And it was, does just nobody else use the bathroom? Like he just pulls out a rat creature and just chills with it in the middle of the room. Doesn't even go in a stall.
I mean, he's cuter than a rat.
Yeah, but he's still a little hairy monster.
I think, to be fair, at this point, like, it's after hours. Like, he's working late, and the place is kind of emptying out, and, like, his floor was pretty empty at that point.
I don't. Is it
I
empty?
thought so. It's like midday.
That place never looks
Was it?
empty.
I think it's like midday.
That place looks like it's hopping 24/7.
Well, yeah, it is, which is weird. But we'll get into that a little later. But
I had a fucking Sam Goody.
yeah, had a Spencer's Gifts as well, which is good for them.
Yeah.
It's so 90s.
Well, they're always broadcasting, so there's that.
I just want a line in this movie where they're like, Spencer's Gifts, they'll never go out of business.
I don't think they are out of business still.
Are they not?
No.
Really?
Yeah,
Really
they're
not.
around.
No, they're not. No, it's like the only store left in Exton Mall. Sorry to localize us, but like it's the only
There's
store
one at
left.
Southridge Mall too, so I just made this internet.
There
I
you
just
go.
made this national
Coast
to coast from Philly to Millie.
Spencer Gifts are like a contagion that infect them all and then slowly take over it. Eventually, we'll just have like block-sized Spencer Gifts.
I think the point of this movie was to say that Spencer's is the bad guy. It's just never gonna die.
That's
Yeah,
it.
maybe.
Got it in one.
Even if you get it wet, it's even worse.
That sounds like a T-shirt I would buy from Spencer's Gifts.
The wetter I get, the worse I get.
You won't like me when I'm wet.
Oh,
I like the macho corporate speak that the smart building's doing. It's like, have a powerful day. And the men's bathroom was Mr. Welcome to the men's room.
And it was like, I hope you washed your hands.
Yeah, that's
Like,
right.
Have
oh,
a
God.
toxic masculinity day. Thank you.
give your secretary a pinch.
Mister, welcome to the men's room. Hey, pal, I sure hope you wash those hands.
I mean, the wash your hands thing, I have left the bathroom when I've seen people just go ahead.
Oh, me too. All the
Yeah.
time.
For sure.
It's
In the
disgusting.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Same.
gross.
Like they'll come out of a stall and then bypass, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, that's not good.
They usually fix their hair first.
They start picking
Then
things
they
out of their
don't
teeth.
Wash their hands.
Yeah.
They gotta make sure they look
I gotta get
good.
that. I got a piece of lettuce in there. All right, see you
Beeline
later.
it straight to the box of donuts. Oh, maybe this one. Nah, maybe this one. No.
With the way they're like kind of doing a satire on like the whole capitalism, huge corporation. Did anybody else get like a RoboCop feel?
Oh shit.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
I didn't even connect those dots, but you're right.
Yeah, was it what? I wonder if these came out. When did RoboCop come out? It's probably around.
Was that like 88 or something?
RoboCop was 87.
Yeah, I got the vibes of them just doing a satire of all of the greed and all that shit. I'm like, hey, it's kind of like RoboCop, just less Red Foreman blowing off a dude's hand.
I also like. Isn't there a story in the making of this movie where they wanted a Gremlins 2 for a long time, but the director just refused over and over and over again? Like, they just did not want to make another one. And then finally, like, accepted the... Am I getting this right? They only accepted the gig when they were like, all right, you can do whatever you want. We just want it. And then knowing that story, I thought that a lot of the, like, corporate undertones maybe were, like, more about, at the time, like, the Hollywood system, and about how they're trying to commercialize movies too much and that there's no artistry left in it. And so the movie was kind of poking fun at that. I don't know. Maybe there's a track there to read it too.
At least in the commentary, Joe Dante said exactly that. He was like, they were asking for this thing forever. And I was like, if I can do whatever I want to and bring all my friends in, you got it. And eventually they just caved. He said it was like a commentary on sequels in general, and he was just ragging on the first movie in a lot of cases, like on the merchandise at the end when he's like, oh, I could put suction cups on this and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, you can see that. Totally.
Yeah.
Especially when they talk about, like, the rules and stuff.
Yes, for sure. I love his punk attitude of, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you're going to give me a ton of money? I'll make this thing, but I'm going to just load it with references of, like, movies that I love. I'm going to make it ridiculous. Like, I just love that attitude. I think it's great.
Yo, he earned it. He earned it. He taught them how to treat him, and it paid off. Like, mad props. Lots of respect for him.
Well, Joe Dante's the man. I mean, he's fucking amazing.
Should we get back into this plot? Oh, Greg.
So after cuddling in the bathroom, Billy takes Gizmo back to his desk, and Daniel Clamp now is for the first time coming to visit the department, and he ends up really liking Billy's work. After Clamp leaves, Marla invites Billy to dinner to celebrate that night, or basically right away. So Billy has to leave Gizmo at his desk, and he's going to have Kate get him later. He talks to Kate. She's not happy that Gizmo is back because, you know, the Gremlins from the last movie.
Gizmo's here, and...
That furry thing?
Well, yeah, he's up in my desk drawer.
Oh.
Oh, no, honey, don't do that. I hate it when you do that. Listen, there is some good news.
What?
You get to take him home.
Take him home? Our home?
Yes.
Billy! No.
Why not?
Are you kidding? What if those things start running around New York?
No, honey. There aren't going to be any of those things, I promise. Just obey the rules, that's all.
So she's not pleased, but Billy says it'll be okay. So, yeah. So in the meantime, Gizmo is left alone. He's out of his drawer that he was supposed to stay in. And an old man janitor is trying to fix a water fountain right by Billy's desk. And he eventually squirts Gizmo by accident. Gizmo gets wet. And Gizmo gives back birth to Mohawk, George, Lenny, and Daffy. 4 new Mogwais.
You know all the names.
Back birth is my favorite.
That's adorable.
George. Wait, which one's George?
George he's like the grumpy looking one.
Oh, okay. He's the one that smokes the cigar when he's like Gremlin.
Yeah.
Is Daffy the one that goes
Daffy's
home with them first?
the insane one.
I love Daffy.
Mohawk. Yeah, Mohawk obviously has a
Daffy.
mohawk, and Lenny has the big buck teeth.
Oh,
you got George and Lenny from Of Mice and Men. So these new Mogwais, for some reason, immediately hate Gizmo and shove him into an air vent. And then the three of them, I think it's, Mohawk, George, and Lenny all head off into the building, and Daffy stays at the desk. And Kate ends up picking up Daffy and taking him home, confusing him for Gizmo. And honestly, the coloring is the same.
Dude,
so
they don't look anything alike. Like, that's
coloring is
fucking
similar.
crazy. Like, Gizmo's so cute.
Stupid
Daffy's
Phoebe
just,
Cates.
Daffy's cute as hell.
Daffy looks like he has, like, rabies. Like, he's...
But now we're at dinner with Marla and Billy at a Canadian-themed restaurant.
Can we talk? She coaxes him into going out by saying, "There's this hot new Canadian restaurant in town." And in my head, when I first heard her say that, I would put in my notes, like, what the fuck is a Canadian restaurant? Do they just apologize a lot? Do they say a lot? What is this? And then, lo and behold, it's the most
great.
Canadian thing I've ever seen. It's unbelievable.
Even at their table, like right between them, there's like a ram or a goat or something, like with these giant horns, like interrupting their like table flow. It's great. There's like a bear. They're drinking out of like wooden giant like mugs. There's like Gordon Lightfoot on the radio. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Sir, this is a favorite Canadian dessert, the chocolate mousse. Can I cut you an antler?
Oh, no thank you.
Are you okay? You want another mole, son, eh?
No thanks, really, I'm fine.
That's where you go to seal the deal. That's where you go to seal the deal. Like, I'm gonna get fucking laid tonight and taking her to the Canada restaurant.
Yeah, so while they're at the restaurant, Marla is making moves on Billy, rubbing his crotch with her foot, and then
you can call it sexual harassment. You could just say that she sexually harasses this coworker.
This is the early
at a
90s.
Canadian
I mean, can
restaurant.
you blame her? She's in a Canadian restaurant.
I know. So Marla made Billy very uncomfortable with her sexual harassment, and he starts to he starts to leave.
You mean he wasn't happy
Yeah,
about it?
You know, he might have been.
He's like, yay.
The camera stayed above the waist, so he might have been happy. We couldn't tell, but he ends up leaving, but not before Marla pulls him in for a kiss, and he's now got lipstick on his face.
And not like the 50 million people in that building would be like, hey, you got fucking shit on your lips. You look like Mel Gibson from Man Without a Face. The fuck?
You think the building would have alerted him to that, right? Billy, your face has makeup all over it.
Billy, your girlfriend's gonna notice.
So now we're back at Kate and Billy's apartment, and Daffy is running amok. He's throwing food at Kate and knocking over blenders and other shit. He's just ruining the place. Billy gets home and quickly knows that it's not Gizmo that she got. So they plan to head back to Clamp Tower and take Daffy back there and find Gizmo. But the Futtermans show up, and the Futtermans are from the first movie, and Murray Futterman is played by Dick Miller, the great Dick Miller. It's always great seeing him show up.
Yeah.
They're in town visiting. They were going to stay at Kate and Billy's apartment, but because the place is a mess because of possible gremlins coming up, they have to find a hotel. But they leave, and Kate and Billy head back to the office with Daffy. But it's now midnight, and Mohawk, Lenny, and George are all gorging on ice cream and candy. And as we all know, gremlins can't eat after midnight. The weird thing is it's midnight in a corporate tower, and like people are just hanging out, partying, and eating frozen yogurt.
Oh, there's like 100,000 people there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like isn't that the scene
Seriously.
where there's like just a club, like just over the next thing over? It's just like people like dancing in a club, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
On
No, it was Club Froyo.
on like
I
what,
go there all the
what
time.
looked like the first floor of the building as well. Like
I think Clamp's like business partner was Biff from the Evil Timeline. For real,
That'd be
man.
a
We
great
get like
crossover.
a Doc-looking
Nice.
fucking Mowgli.
Oh.
Great.
Oh, that's terrific.
You got Doc trying to figure out like Doc versus Christopher Lee, like.
Oh my God, Dr. Catheter versus Doc would be amazing. I love that idea.
So now Billy and Kate end up back at the tower, and they hear about little monsters or little animals being inside the Froyo candy section.
The health food
so
store.
The health food area. And they quickly figure out that obviously that's just a bunch of mogwais. Billy's plan is to just go in and turn off the water to the building so that they can't get wet, so they can't reproduce. Like, they're gonna cocoon up and they're gonna turn into gremlins, but let's keep it to a minimum.
Makes sense.
While he's
That
turning off
tracks.
the water, or trying to, he gets caught and he gets arrested, but not before Daffy escapes and bites the cops or like the security guard's nose. Billy is taken away to jail, and the camera pans up and we see 3 gooey gremlin cocoons.
I just love seeing a crazy cop firing his gun in a tiny room like that.
Yeah, even back in the 80s, even back in the 90s, they captured the essence of cops just shooting their guns.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, and he's just shooting up in the air, like he's got something attached to his face, but you can't just shoot yourself in the face.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I fully was expecting him to try to shoot the gremlin and end up killing himself. I thought that was going to be like a punchline in the movie. And I kind of wish it was.
Pretty awesome. Yeah. All right, so now it's 6:30 in the morning the next day. Billy is out of jail, and they head back to the tower as the cocoons are hatching. And we got gremlins now.
Woohoo!
We see Gizmo walking around the vents. He ends up falling in like a hole in the vent and ends up right where the gremlins are. And this is just the start of torturing poor little Gizmo.
No.
Yes.
No.
Ooh, give me that Mogwai torture.
It's funny.
I like the idea of Eric being in the theater, seeing that advertisement with the cigarette being put out on the Mogwai's head, and just being like, "Fuck yeah!" Just taking pictures to go home.
This is what I came here for.
That traumatized me, man. Fuck that fucking cutout.
So Billy and Kate are there. They grab flashlights as they search for the gremlins and for Gizmo. And obviously gremlins and Mogwais don't enjoy bright lights. Billy goes to the control room to tell Forrester about the gremlins. And at
Forrester's
the same
like
time,
the head of security.
Yeah. He's played by Richard Picardo, who was the Doctor in Star Trek Voyager.
That's right. Holy shit. Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought I knew him from somewhere.
Yeah, he's just bald in that, not in this
You're
one.
so smart.
At the same time, Kate is giving one of her tours, and they go into microwaving with Marge. Taping a
no, Greg. It's just called
cooking
microwave.
show.
It's just called microwave with Marge.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's on her
Thank you
shirt.
for correcting it.
I wrote microwaving because obviously that makes sense, and I died laughing when I realized my mistake. That no, it's just the object microwave with Marge. Which I love that.
Marge in a microwave sitting on a bench. She's got her arm around it.
Microwave
Cuddled
with
up.
Marge. Yeah.
So now we're back in the control room.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the scene they interrupt is Marge of Microwave with Marge is showing her audience how to make an appetizer for her guests, and the appetizer is just lunch meat wrapped around refried beans and then microwaved.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
And I've never seen something so foul that also made me so hungry.
Bologna and
I loved
bean
it.
dip.
Yep.
Oh man.
So back in the control room, we have Mohawk breaking through the computer system. You know, we got big old 90s computers, and ends up attacking a guy, biting at him, punching him. Billy scares him away with the flashlight. So Forrester is now fully aware of the gremlins. Back at the taping of Microwave with Marge, George, Lenny, and Daffy start kind of wreaking havoc there. They end up putting all this metal inside of a microwave, which explodes and lights everything on fire.
That was by the way, that was her problem with what was going on. She was like, they can't do that. They can't put metal in the microwave. And it's like, wait, hold on. There are monsters that just popped out of your soup kettle thing. Like, what the fuck?
And also, did you notice when they popped out of her soup kettle, the first thing she does, she doesn't run right away. The first thing she does is she grabs her bottle of Cherie and then runs away. And it's just
That's
off camera
why she's
chugging.
Microwave Marge.
Yeah.
That's why she has to have that airtime.
I love Marge. I want to get a beer with Marge. I bet she has stories. What leads you to the
She would be
microwave?
so much fun to drink with.
Seriously.
I love that Mohawk attack scene. It's all the control people bitching about the rules, telling Billy he's an asshole, basically.
Okay, wait. What if one of them eats something at 11 o'clock, but then he gets something stuck in his teeth?
Yeah, like a caraway seed or a sesame seed.
Whatever, right.
And then after 12 o'clock, it comes out. Now, he didn't eat that after midnight.
Yeah, that's
Look, I didn't make the rules, okay?
Rules. I don't believe this.
Oh, wait a minute. What about this? What if they're eating in an airplane and they cross a time zone? I mean, it's always midnight somewhere.
It's like a response to the critics or what kids would say in a schoolyard about the movie, and they're like, you know what, fuck you, wah, Mohawk attack, just bites his neck in the middle of him critiquing the movie. It's so great, loved it.
Yeah, Joe Dante's eat a bag of dicks,
Yep,
fucking critic.
exactly. Oh, you're worried about the rules? Wah! Bite your neck open.
Poindexter.
All right, so back to the movie. We got a big fire, causing the sprinklers to go off, and Daffy, Lenny, and George all get wet, and they start creating a boatload of gremlins that start popping off of them. Now we get some more torture of Gizmo by Mohawk, and we see Kate getting into an elevator that's been taken over by gremlins. This kind of happens throughout the whole thing, like a couple scenes, but it eventually crashes. She survives, but a bunch of gremlins get crushed, and she's now like covered in Nickelodeon goop gremlin blood.
I'm okay with that.
When they start killing gremlins is when this movie gets really violent. Like really early, like when you see humans being attacked by gremlins, it's always like little bites at first. At the first part of the movie, it's just little bites here and there, and people getting thrashed around or whatever. But you don't really see much. But like, it isn't the first major gremlin death a gremlin being shoved through a paper shredder.
Well, that's coming up.
All right,
Yeah.
That was fucking amazing.
But that whole like thing with the elevator is also like where they introduce like gremlins just having clothes just out of nowhere. It's just like, 'cause the elevator operator just has like a little helmet on, like it's like my favorite fucking thing of all time. They just have clothes. They're like, where did you get these tiny clothes? Like, whatever.
That is fantastic.
The American Doll store.
Yes, it's in the building.
That's right. It's like 2 stores down from Spencer's. Just hang around.
Yeah, they probably just went to Spencer's.
Dude, I didn't even think about that. For real. It didn't even register me that most of the gremlins in this are wearing clothes, and
It's
where
like
those clothes come from.
You're an hour in, clothes. That's what you get.
Well, I think you didn't think about it because like at this point now, it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
you just
and
go
don't
with
think
it.
about why like Mickey Mouse wears pants.
Well, now I do.
Maybe that, like, you ever hear that story about Fight Club? How one of the opening scenes of Fight Club is Edward Norton at an AA meeting, and he has like a hallucination where he's trying to find a center, and he meets like a talking penguin that tells him to slide. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, and the whole point to that scene was Fincher said he wanted to introduce early on in the movie how ethereal and otherworldly this is going to get. So they want to set you up early on to expect the unexpected, so that by the end the twist makes sense. And I don't know. Maybe you're tapping in a little like I guess what I'm getting at is the Chuck Jones intro with the cartoon characters that had me thinking like, oh, this is going to be a kids movie. But then like this movie ends. Spoiler alert: this movie ends with gremlin fucking. So like clearly it's not a kids movie. But now I guess at this point is when I register the Chuck Jones thing as being like, hey guys, it's a cartoon. Don't take it seriously. This is all for fun. Let's goof around. Let's have a goofy fun time.
Yeah, and they keep reminding you of that throughout the whole thing. Yeah,
it works. It's like,
but I love the clothes concept though. It's like now they're clothed all of a sudden. I didn't pick up on that. I love it.
It's
great.
So from the elevator we move on to a scene in Clamp's office. His secretary gets attacked. A gremlin puts a mousetrap in her sandwich.
It's an off-screen.
Yeah,
thing.
But she yells, and I don't know if she gets killed or runs away, but the gremlin is just sitting at the desk, like, just hitting the keyboard, singing, like, the ABC song, wearing her clothes.
Yeah, so one of the Spielberg cuts, which I think is hilarious, he's wearing her clothes. When Clamp comes in, he goes, "You're not my secretary." And they cut it. Spielberg cut it for time, and I thought that was so hilarious that he was like so dumb.
That is really funny.
Yeah, they should have kept it.
You can't bamboozle me.
I'm a business boy.
The Clamp and the gremlin fight for a bit, and he eventually kills it by shoving it in a paper shredder. And it is, I guess I would use the word gory because it is gremlin guts and blood, but it's playful because it's green.
I like you're like, I would use the word gory, but it's all blood and gore.
I feel like that's the blender scene of this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like twice as long. Because I mean, that gremlin's like sitting in that shredder for a while. Like he's like, you have to like shove him down to like shred them totally.
And that is an industrial shredder.
Yeah, where'd they get that thing? Like, I mean, if you're gonna get a shredder, like, you gotta go with whatever they had.
All right, so after Clamp kills the gremlin, Billy and Forrester come in and they talk about things. You know, that we're moving along. We get a quick scene of Leonard Maltin reviewing Gremlins, and then he gets attacked by Gremlins because he gave it a bad review.
That was so fun.
Today we'll start with our video watch. Just re-released on video is the movie Gremlins, though I really can't imagine why. Now, I know some people found this movie fun, but me, I'd rather spend 2 hours having root canal work done. What's fun about a movie full of ugly, slimy, mean-spirited, gloppy little monsters who run amok and attack innocent people? Our moviegoers so desperate for entertainment that this kind of trash can pass for fun. Whoa, wait a minute! I'm just kidding! Ow! A 10! It's a 10!
Apparently that's true. Apparently that's true. He gave the original a poor review.
And he actually like cameoed in this one?
Yeah, he was cool about it. Yeah,
that's amazing. I love that.
I like that
Leonard
too.
Maltin will do whatever you want for money.
Roger Ebert said no. Number 2 it is.
I don't know, Roger Ebert I think would have done it if asked.
I'll bet you Ebert gave Gremlins 1 a good review. I don't know, but I'm willing to bet. That seems like Ebert bait to me.
All right, so now we're up in the laboratory.
Vegetable gremlin.
Yes, gremlins have invaded and have started drinking beakers and vials full of DNA that are just laying about. One turns into, as Eric mentioned, a vegetable gremlin. One turns into a super smart, brainy gremlin.
Yeah.
My favorite.
I wanna talk a little bit about what's going on in this room, because I think there are some fascinating ramifications here for the future. When you introduce genetic material of research quality to a life form such as ours, which is possessed of a sort of, I hesitate to use the word, atavism, but let us say a highly aggressive nature.
Another turns into a bat, and the smart gremlin gives the bat gremlin some sunblock DNA to be able to go outside and not be hurt by the sun.
So, sorry to keep mentioning the freaking commentary, but
no, keep it up. I love it.
They had the whole gig where he like escapes and makes a bat symbol. You know what Greg's probably going to get into, and they were like, wait a minute. He can't go out in the sunlight, so they just like added the sunblock thing after the fact. Just cover their ass.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, the bat gremlin breaks through the wall. It does form the shape of Batman's like symbol, the bat signal, and he gets outside during the day, which never a gremlin has been outside in the sun.
Groundbreaking.
Now we get just a lot of gremlin rampage in the building because there are gremlins fucking everywhere. They're buying and selling stocks. They're killing people.
They're flashing people.
Yeah, they're flashing their non-existent dongs at Kate and just causing overall mayhem, throwing people off balconies and everything. They
are
awesome.
Sexually harassing people.
I think in this sequence there's a moment where Clamp says to somebody like, "No press, no cops, we'll handle this." And then he turns to his head of security and says, "Now you, go handle this."
He says
like,
supposed to be getting the bugs out of the building, right? Well, I would call these some pretty goddamn major bugs, wouldn't you?
Such an executive mindset.
There's a flasher gremlin in the first movie, if I remember correctly, but he doesn't get kicked in the dick.
Well, then that doesn't count.
Yeah,
that does.
I think it was a callback, and then she got like her revenge or something. I could be wrong, but I think there's
that was a fun moment though.
No, I think you're right. I think there was a flasher in the first one.
I mean, there should always be.
Mm-hmm.
Back to back in my
notes.
notes.
A monster, he's got to be flashing open a...
Gremlins 3, 4, put a flasher.
Yeah, sunglasses, smoking a cigarette. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pop it in there.
Yeah, but this time in 3 and 4, he just sends dick pics. He's the Tinder gremlin.
Gremlins 3 canceled.
Unwoke.
My stream of consciousness in this movie, like I've got 2 notes back to back, one line and then followed by the other line. The first line is, I love Flasher Gremlin. Flasher Gremlin is my favorite Gremlin. And then the next line of my notes is, I love Gargoyle Gremlin. Gargoyle Gremlin is my favorite Gremlin.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
each one gets
They're
better
all
and
my
better.
favorite Gremlin.
Yeah, they're amazing.
All right, so now we're outside, and the Bat Gremlin ends up attacking Murray Futterman, who fights it,
Yes.
and throws it into concrete and covers it in more concrete, and the Bat Gremlin flies up to the top of a church and hardens, and now is, like Dan mentioned, now he's a gargoyle at the top of a church, and it's pretty cool looking.
Awesome.
So this is the prequel to the cartoon Gargoyle.
Yeah.
I love the stop motion that they just like him flying
so
around, and they cut back to the practical stuff. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it looks
really
great.
good.
I really, honestly, there were some times where you could tell an effect was an effect, but it still felt right. Like, there's something about the tone of this movie and, like, how cartoony it was and everything. All of the effects aged so fucking well.
Dude,
I don't think there's a minute in this. Yeah. There wasn't a minute in this where I thought, like, oh, that doesn't seem real. Like, all of it just felt right.
Yeah, you're like along for the ride the entire time. Like, doesn't
Totally.
matter if it looks like the electric gremlin, like that's you're like, yes, of course, that's exactly what it would look like.
Yep. Totally.
Why wouldn't it look like that? Like, why wouldn't it get stuck on hold, like inside a telephone? Like, of course.
Oh, I love
100%
the animation
agreement.
in that.
And he was a badass looking thing when he was in the. Well, yeah, we'll get there. Yes, I love that visual. I love the electric gremlin. The electric gremlin is my favorite gremlin.
It's my favorite Gremlin.
He becomes super important, as we'll find out. You know?
Yeah. He hasn't even happened yet, but keep him in mind. All right, so now we get more Gizmo torture.
Yeah.
Mohawk, George, and Lenny have him tied to a train track, and they hit him with a toy train.
Run his ass over.
And then Forrester and Billy confront Dr. Catheter about what's going on in the hallway, but this is when the movie breaks. And Gremlins have taken over the projection booth and have attacked the projectionist, and they refuse to play the rest of the movie, so the usher goes and get the immortal Hulk Hogan to scare them into restarting the movie. And Hulkamania runs a little bit too wild for the Gremlins, and they get that movie started again. This is the weirdest scene in any movie ever, I think.
It's great because this is the exact opposite he said to Gawker in real life.
Okay, you guys, listen up. People pay good money to see this movie. When they go out to a theater, they want cold sodas, hot popcorn, and no monsters in the projection booth. Do I have to come up there myself? Do you think the Grimsters can stand up to the Hulkster? Well, if I were you, I'd run the rest of Gremlins too, right now. Sorry, folks. It won't happen again.
If you were to rent the VHS when it was released, the scene was different. So the tracking was like a VHS getting screwed up rather than a projection. And then there was there was a John Wayne shootout scene with Gremlin shooting guns against John Wayne.
That's amazing.
Instead of Hulk Hogan, it didn't even have Hulk Hogan in it at all.
That's amazing.
So that's on the blue. Yeah, you can watch that whole scene on the blue, and it's
so cool.
It's great. It's awesome. Yeah.
So the 4K has to have it where it starts to buffer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It has to start to buffer, and then like Vin Diesel has to chase him off in a car.
No, it's just a gremlin lip syncing to Baby Gaga in their bedroom, like Vin Diesel.
Man.
They have a lip sync off.
It makes sense that he would be in it because like in the 90s he was fucking the king of the world. Like
Totally.
at this time.
Yeah, I mean, he was their Vin Diesel. Yeah.
Yeah, that scene, like I imagined him like in my like child memory, I imagined him like yelling like much louder than he was, and when I watched it back and I was like, oh, he's just like talking. He's not like really yelling at all.
It's really
Which is
gentle.
very surprising. Yeah, I was like, huh, okay. I guess
Hulk
like
Hogan.
Even
Hulk
while
Hogan was the scariest part to young Jess than the actual Gremlins.
Like, what the fuck?
He's in the middle of tearing his shirt in half, and his voice is just like, please be calm for the people in the theater
I ran
around
over.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, today he'd be like, turn off your cell phones, brother.
Have you all seen the Key and Peele sketch about Gremlins 2?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's in the sequel.
Yeah. So check it out on YouTube. It's hilarious. It's like
I'm sure I have.
It's basically them like pitching all the crazy ass Gremlins.
Yes. Yeah.
But in the commentary, what's funny is Dante was like, "Yeah, we had a sheet of paper just set up on a wall, and anyone, cast or crew, could come up with an idea and write it on the sheet, and we would just look at it and determine if we wanted to use it or not."
No fucking
So,
way.
like, I love that Key and Peele, and it's hilarious. But I'm like, this kind of supports,
That's
amazing. That Key,
Yeah.
that the whole concept that they were like, we don't give a fuck. Like, you're giving us a bunch of money, and I swear this is like Dante at his most punk rock. Again, I know I keep saying it over and over again, but I just love that they dumped money in his lap, and he was like, "Thank you. I'll take ideas from cast and crew and integrate it wherever I feel, especially when Hulk Hogan breaks the fourth wall." Like, it's so awesome.
So now we know the craft service guy wrote, like, have a human fuck a gremlin.
the ending.
And it got put in the movie.
He's been itching for that for so long.
Like, thanks, buffet guy.
He's like, I got it. I've been sitting on this one for what?
You just wrote the ending
6
to our
years.
movie, sir.
At the next day's like team meeting, it's like, all right, to whoever recommended Man Fucks Gremlin, you didn't need to draw an illustration as explicit as you drew. But we
I
will
like
use
it,
this in
and
the
we'll
movie.
keep it in.
Yeah.
The fucking craft service guy became a member of the Writers Guild the next day. How did you
That's all
get
it
your
took.
card? Oh, I said they should fuck.
I'm the sex gremlin guy.
Who is my favorite gremlin? Sex gremlin.
All right, so now both us and the movie gets back to the movie.
Greg Shrine.
We have
Nice segue. Good job. Yep.
We have
Great job, Greg. Good
Thank
segue.
you.
I love that.
All right, so now we have Grandpa Fred is deciding that he's going to be kind of a man on the street news broadcast guy and tell the world about what's going on inside the building, since no other news outlet is allowed in. He pulls this Asian tourist that we've seen throughout. I haven't mentioned him yet, but he's taking pictures of everything, filming everything.
Sorry, Greg. That's Long Duck Dong from 16 Candles. I just had to throw that.
All right. But yeah, so he's going to act as Grandpa Fred's cameraman. Now we get a montage of more gremlins eating more DNA. One becomes the electric gremlin that we mentioned earlier.
Woohoo!
One gets acid thrown in its face, and he's the Phantom of the Opera gremlin.
I love that it says
dark.
I love that the bottle of acid's like, "Do not throw in face" on it.
Yeah.
The electric one is just an emoji. How did you know? How did you know Gremlins 2?
So prescient.
One becomes a girl, and the lady gremlin, whose name is Greta, gets her sights fixated on Forster, because we got Catheter, Billy, and Forster are in the laboratory. So
I love
Catheter.
Yeah. Sorry, it low-key, the Gremlins mythos is like vaguely Christian because things start as default gremlin and then you gotta get the rib pulled out in order to make a female. There's just the one female. It's a genetic variant. It becomes a female. I'm sorry.
How did we get the name? How did you figure out the name?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I Googled it.
Oh, okay.
They
All
are
right.
names.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't say him in the movie.
Yeah, because I had sent you.
I did my fucking homework, Eric. Come on.
I did some
You're
homework.
regular Dr. Catheter.
Dude, I watch this shit twice with commentary. I'm good. I'm all right. I didn't pick up her name, but I did get a news notice today that the female gremlin is now, what's it called? Monster High? Guys,
It's like a Bratz doll spinoff, right?
Yeah, it's like a figurine now, but she's like sexy.
Oh, what?
Yeah, the female gremlin is now like a sexy Barbie doll that you can buy, but doesn't look anything like the original doll. Google it. It's horrifying.
I'm doing it now.
Yeah. Sorry, Greg. I know you're trying
Wait,
to
Monster
get through
High,
this.
you said?
Yeah, Monster High, Greta. Gremlins 2, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Damn.
Yep.
Ooh, hey.
There it is.
You're like, oh,
Yikes.
well, everybody's horny now.
I've seen this in Two Things Are True. This exists and my night is ruined.
You know, in part 3, the electric gremlin, his like main nefarious ways is he just goes on Tinder and catfishes people.
That's great.
So we got the dick pic gremlin and the
catfish gremlin.
electric gremlin.
Catfish gremlin.
We'd have
Dateline gremlin.
an MLM gremlin. A gremlin that just seeps essential oils out of its palms. And sells them.
A gremlin that calls you about your car insurance.
A gremlin
Your warranty
that
is expired.
Boom.
A gremlin that scams your grandma by telling her she has computer problems.
Oh God, I hate that gremlin already.
Yeah.
I mean, we're writing
I hate
this
that
script
gremlin. It's
for
my
Least
favorite
favorite gremlin.
Yeah,
Come on,
maybe
Joe Dante.
maybe Gremlins 3 is just real life now.
I think
Like,
so.
maybe there's just
No, we
Gremlins
ruined it.
in the simulation of the world.
Isn't there an HBO Max like animated show that they were talking about? Gremlins.
Yeah, it's
Something.
a Gizmo like prequel cartoon.
Did it get shell? Is it
No,
happening or?
it's not out yet, but it's coming.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I'm
Yeah.
way less interested in a prequel, way more interested in seeing them amp up. I want to see the same ramp up from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3.
2 to 3.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put Joe Dante in the game. He has got nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah.
They got 30 years of shit to just amp up.
Yeah.
What if it starts with like the Pentagon being taken over by gremlins and it ends with gremlins in space? Like that's what I want. That would be fucking awesome.
All right, so now we got we're still in the lab. Catheter and Billy go to grab some guns from the lab locker, but Catheter ends up getting his hand chewed on by a gremlin and then electrocuted by the electric gremlin. But Mohawk grabs a machine gun and just starts firing into the lab. Billy does run away safely, but we saw that he shot up one of the other gremlins who starts drinking something, and the water just starts like spouting out of him, which is pretty great. We also see that Mohawk grabs a beaker of spider DNA juice. But now we finally cut back to Gizmo. It's been a while without Gizmo. He unties himself from the track. He starts remembering Rambo saying, I think it was, to fight a war, you have to become a war.
Survive a war. You gotta become a war.
I think the moral of the story is use the weapons of your enemy against them. Yes, that's the good thing.
Yeah, get a paperclip, man.
You could play football with it, or you could kill someone.
Guess which option Gizmo goes with?
Football.
Yeah. This is where the movie turns into Friday Night Lights with Gremlins.
So Clamp is in his office, and he sees on the TV that Grandpa Fred is broadcasting what's going on, and we get a little scene of Gizmo, a little montage of him working out, getting ready to fight. Billy and Clamp are in his office, and the electric gremlin comes out of one of the electrical outlets. Billy gets him trapped inside of the phone on hold. So the electric gremlin is sidelined for now. But Billy hatches a plan to turn the clocks back to, I think, 4:20 to trick the gremlins into gathering in the lobby thinking it's getting ready to be nighttime.
4:20.
And he needs Clamp. Yeah. And he needs Clamp to get out of the building to set up something to block the windows so that they think that it's nighttime. Marla is now walking through the halls, and she gets trapped in Mohawk spider webs because he's turned into a giant gremlin spider.
Oh, God. Wait. Oh, sorry, Greg. Just real quick.
What?
Oh, the scene where he turns into a spider is Slayer's Angel of Death. Right? You guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's metal as fuck.
It's true horror, and it's like all done in shadow, and then he like reveals himself. It's a song about Joseph Mengele. It's like it's got like Auschwitz in the song. It's got like sadistic surgeon like in the song. They don't play the actual lyrics, but it's not a nice song. It's a hardcore Slayer song, and they kept it in this movie. And Dante
It's rad
again
as fuck.
was like, "I don't give a shit." They put Slayer in Gremlins too. So
because it's a kids movie.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You got it.
You gotta have a Mengele song in there.
It opens with Daffy Duck, and it's got Slayer.
Yeah. Just wanted to mention that. Yeah.
It hits all the fan bases.
Yeah. This is a true 4-quadrant movie. So Clamp takes.
All right,
so Clamp takes his hidden escape route to get outside, which is like a little elevator pod underneath like a tree. And Murray Futterman takes it to get into the building. So Murray is back in the game.
He's a badass, man.
Hell yeah.
Grandpa Fred is now interviewing the brainy gremlin, and he asks him, like, what do you want? What are you looking to achieve? And the gremlin basically says,
The niceties, Fred, the fine points. Diplomacy, compassion, standards, manners, tradition. That's what we're reaching toward. Oh, we may stumble along the way, but civilization, yes. The Geneva Convention, chamber music, Susan Sontag. Everything your society has worked so hard to accomplish over the centuries, that's what we aspire to. We want to be civilized. I mean, you take a look at this fellow here. Now, was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
Oh my God, the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix ripped that off.
I thought the exact same thing, dude. I thought the exact same thing. I was like, oh, that's just that scene from the Joker because it was live on TV, but also it ties into the point he was making, and he's totally right.
It's commentary.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fucking commentary. I also wish there was a shot of like Elvira watching this at home and be like, fuck.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been awesome.
Screwed now.
Yes.
Like, this old bastard finally beat me.
Now we get a shot of Clamp setting up a big nighttime like sheet over the front windows to block the daylight. Billy got knocked out at some point, and he's in a dentist chair.
He gets knocked out with a mallet, by the way. It's not just knocked out. It's like in shadow, you see this mallet just like, and with the sound effect as well.
Donk.
It's like, yeah, like.
And then we're into full-on Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman.
Yes.
Fucking having his teeth worked.
Yeah, the gremlin the gremlin even says, "Is it safe?" like they're, yeah.
I wish that gremlin was voiced by Dustin Hoffman.
So Murray comes in and fights off Daffy and saves Billy from getting gremlin dental work. Marla and Kate are both trapped in Mohawk's spider webs, and Spider Mohawk finally comes out. We actually see him in all his disgusting glory because spiders are the worst. And he's coming after the two women, but Rambo Gizmo saves the day and shoots like a flaming tiny arrow at him, and Mohawk seemingly burns to death. So I was actually impressed that they killed kind of the big bad gremlin before the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
I loved it. Like I said earlier in this recording, I thought the Spider Gremlin sequence was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like Eric said, like the music was great. The way they shot the Spider Gremlin was incredible. Like it like crawls over the camera at one point, and you can see all these like its abdomen is like lined with pincers. It's creepy and gross and so effective.
It just goes to show that, like, the minute Gizmo got sprayed by the rogue fucking water fountain, this movie ramped it up to 11 and never fucking, like, took its foot off the accelerator.
Seriously.
Like, it was just like, hang on,
100%.
motherfuckers. Like, we're fucking going for a ride.
And I'm here for it. I want more movies to do this shit. Like, I feel like the only movie that I've seen recently that went that crazy at the end was, like, Malignant. I feel like Malignant went bonkers at the end. I want more movies that go bonkers at the end. Like, oh man, I'm here for it. Here's my wallet. Take my money. Make that movie.
Now, after Rambo Gizmo saves the girls, Murray and Billy cut them out of the webs, and I guess somebody mentions Abe Lincoln, but we get a quick callback to kind of Kate's Santa Christmas trauma from the first movie, and she starts kind of relaying a story about Abe Lincoln, but they kind of just shut her down pretty quickly. Now
Billy's like, we don't have time for this. Sorry.
Yeah.
She's like, oh.
A guy in a park that looks like Abe Lincoln with the stovetop hat, only was wearing a robe, and then they tell her to be
She
quiet.
keeps going though. She's like, hey, he says, hey, little girl, what are you doing?
But yeah, now they're all gathered in the lobby because they think it's nighttime, and they're ready to leave. The brain gremlin is singing New York, New York, and they're just having a big old gremlin party. They're about to drop the cloth outside, but a storm comes in and kind of ruins that plan because the sunlight is blocked out.
The plan was drop the cloth, and then the sunlight will come in through the lobby and
Yeah.
burn them all alive. But because the storm came in, there's no sun, so now
It's
that
like
is
a classic
shot.
vampire killing. Like, trick them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Billy has to think fast, and his plan is to soak all the gremlins and then release the electric gremlin out of the phone onto them, kind of killing them all. And that we get Marie Futterman spraying all the gremlins down, and they're all just producing new gremlins because they're getting wet. And the plan ends up working because the electric gremlin just shoots all over, hitting all the gremlins, electrifying everybody, and they all just kind of like melt. And you see a lot of like awesome gremlin skeletons.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cool.
It's gore as fuck. It reminded me of the you remember the climax to that Peter Jackson
Yeah.
what's it called Brain Dead, and the climax to Brain Dead where the house that they're in is just like full of blood and guts, and the characters moving around are like slipping and sliding around because you can barely even walk. It's so gory. Like, that's what the lobby to Clamp Tower looks like. at the end
and
of this
it's
movie.
just like you said, like, after all the gremlins are killed, Clamp and a bunch of other people come running in with guns, and they're ready for action. But everything's over. The room's covered in green goo. Clamp himself kind of slips in the goo and falls down. From here, he ends up promoting Grandpa Fred, the Dracula news host, to 6 o'clock anchor. He promotes Marla to head of PR, and he ends up buying Billy's design of his own hometown for kind of a new town complex in New Jersey.
And then he went out of business 3 months later because there are poor decisions.
And he also ends up seeing Gizmo, and he starts talking like immediately about like merchandising Gizmo as like a toy with little suction cups on their hands you can put on your windows and stuff.
Which everyone had when the movie came out. I really hope Grandpa Frank showed up to like their legit news program at 6 p.m. dressed as a vampire.
That'd be awesome.
He probably did.
I mean, might as well. You're doing news.
Now, the Clamp did tell him he gave him a credit card to go buy new clothes, and he told him to get sun this weekend. So I don't know. Maybe Grandpa Fred will, Dracula it up for the news.
Step it up. Yeah, he did really mention like doing like a makeover special too, which that's what I want to see is the Grandpa Fred makeover reveal, like the queer eye.
I wrote in my notes when he said that line about like, oh, well, let's do a makeover. I was like, man, Grandpa Fred's got YouTube energy in like 1988 or whatever. He knows what he's doing. He knows content. Good on you, buddy.
Microwave Marge is doing the weather.
All right, Greg, let's do some human gremlin sex to end this movie.
Yep. So they've saved the city. The building's back up and running. Everyone's happy, besides the people that died. As they're leaving, Gizmo is asking whether they have cable TV back at home, starts naming all these cable channels. But we do leave the movie with Forrester trapped in the bathroom. Greta, the lady gremlin, comes walking out in a wedding dress, and Forrester is kind of backing off into a corner until he realizes, you know what? I can fuck this gremlin.
Fuck this gremlin. Thank you, craft service Kurt.
And on a shot of him kind of slowly moving down below camera line, he's already covered in gremlin kisses. From there, we just cut to credits, and it's left to your imagination when you're alone by yourself in the dark.
That's true.
Thank you, Gremlins 2.
Did anybody watch the credits?
I did.
Yes.
Bugs Bunny is chasing Daffy a couple times during it.
Wait, you got that? Because I got
Really?
all I got was Daffy Duck every once in a while like commenting on how long the credits are.
Yeah, and then like Bugs would pop up and he would run away.
I didn't get Bugs in mine.
Oh yeah,
That's
And
interesting.
it was like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
this is
weird.
full circle. It's a kids movie now.
It is, yeah. He's like, you're still, and then like at the end, he's like, you're still here. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I saw. Like, why are you still here? Like, yeah.
So Gremlins 2, it skewers capitalism, it skewers pop culture references, and it skewers its own predecessor, Gremlins 1. What do you guys say that we skewer this movie by stabbing it to fucking depth in the rating section?
Boom.
Let's
Dan's
do
like,
it.
let's fucking finish this thing.
Time for the ratings.
So here on Stabby Stabby, we like to rate our movies from 1 to 10 stabs. 1 being the fact that we maybe have just made you watch paint dry, and that's not a movie at all. And 10 being it's the best movie ever made, and you would recommend it to your mom, your Grammy, your puppums, and your puppums, your puppums, and your puppums.
What about your gremlin mistress?
Yeah, well, you could definitely recommend. You're gonna watch it with your gremlin mistress, so she's gonna see it anyway. How about we start with Dan? Dan, how many times are you stabbing Gremlins to the new batch?
I would. You know what? Originally, I was gonna say I'm gonna stab. Okay, when the credits rolled, my thought was I'm gonna stab this movie 5 times. Having thought about it for another day and having talked to you all about it, I'm stabbing this movie motherfucking 7 times. I really enjoy this movie. This gets 7 stabs for me. I didn't think the story was anything to write home about, but I loved the effects. I loved all the characters. I thought the performances were great. I thought it was super campy. Did I mention the effects? They're so fucking good. The puppet work is amazing. The camera work is amazing. The lighting is incredible. It knows when to be scary. It knows when to be gory. And it knows when to show a gremlin making smoochy faces. I loved it. It has all the ingredients that make Stan happy. And I'm going to stab it 7 times. Eric, how are you feeling about this movie?
I am feeling super good. I'm going 8.5. I love it. I think the chaos, the funny, the horror, the musical number, the Hulk Hogan, it hits my sweet spot. I think I mentioned, I've driven this point home. I think Dante's went punk rock and was like, I don't give a shit. Here you go, you greedy freaking fucks. This is what you get. Drop this money in my lap and you're gonna love it, and it's gonna make money anyway, and that's awesome to me. Yeah, I dig it. I'll watch it every year. I just random weird mention, this is not my idea. I read this on Letterboxd, someone's review. They said that Gizmo has never gotten wet. So just imagine how bad he smells. So I'm just throwing that out there. Also, because I thought
Stinky motherfucker.
Yeah, I thought it was funny as shit. He's got some bad BO. Jess, how did you feel about this movie?
Hey, yeah, so to preface this, the first episode I was on was Radioactive Dreams. I gave that a 10, so there's no possible way that I cannot give this movie a 10. I mean, the Gremlins movies are one of my favorite movies. This might be one of my favorite sequels of all time. I don't care about the story because it's just so much fun from top to bottom. Like, the effects are amazing, the music's amazing, like, it's just so ridiculous and out there that you just, you know, from the get, you go with it and you just keep going. And like Paul said, like, they start at 1 and they just keep going until they get to like 100. It's crazy. It's fucking ridiculous. So it has to be a 10 for me. Greg.
Hey, well, for me, I'm gonna go 8. You know, it loses a point, no nudity. I'm sorry, it's PG-13, it doesn't matter. And also, yeah, I mean, the story in and of itself is non-existent. It's just kind of, it's a vehicle for fun and effects and just having a stupid time. And this movie nails it, but honestly, it could have gotten weirder. Which we should have seen that. We should have seen them gremlins banging. So yeah, I mean 8 from me. Yeah, it's if you haven't seen it, see it. It's an amazing movie. It definitely feels different than the first Gremlins movie, but it holds up. It kind of adds a little bit more to the Gremlin mythos and canon and everything. So I'm looking forward to Gremlins 3, Gremlins cancel culture with Back to the Future. So we'll see how that goes. And finally, Paul, our newest guest. How many stabs are you giving?
Oh, I get to break my stabbing cherry.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Woo! No, so there's Winter Soldier, Godfather 2, T2, and then there's Gremlins 2. I'm sorry, this gets I haven't seen this movie in fucking 25 years. This is a goddamn 10 out of 10.
All right.
Yes.
So much fun. This took me back to the cardboard cutout, fucking everything. Greg, part 3 has to have one gremlin drawing the girl gremlin with one titty. Hopefully that gets a 10 from you then.
Yeah. That's all I need is one.
No, I fucking love this. There's some movies that are just timeless, right? Like Jurassic Park. This one, we're still living in a world of just capitalism and greed, and it just throws it on its head. It's haha, you guys are stupid. And it's oh shit, we haven't learned anything since 1990. We're even more stupider. We dum-dums. I fucking loved it. I loved it. I loved we made we made comments about Gizmo being tortured, but it had fucking payoff. He killed the big bad. He came out and he fucking did. I wish we would have had an 80s montage of him training.
Yeah.
To fucking an awesome 80s song. Fucking Walking on Sunshine or something. I don't fucking know. No, I fucking loved it. I loved the stat cast. I mean, when this movie came out, you may not have been ooh, these are great actors, but today you're holy shit, dude, that's fucking Lord of the Rings guy and fucking Breaking Bad guy.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Holy shit, and are those I didn't even think if they were clones. This movie makes a thinker. Makes you think. Makes you think, fuck Dolly the sheep, Gremlins did it first. Dolly was a sheep that was cloned.
Hell yeah. Yo, I know about Dolly the sheep. I love Dolly the sheep.
Thank you for explaining that.
I thought you were referencing Unshan Andalou or something.
I don't know what that is, so I wasn't. So it's a 10 out of 10. Whiskey.
All right. Well, those are high reviews for Gremlins 2. Thanks for sticking around for this long. Hey, before I ask about how you can learn more about Stabby Stabby and what movies we're watching next, can I ask, hey Jess, hey Paul, where can we learn more about Apples to Oranges and the other projects you're working on?
Yeah, since I made Jess fall in the sword at the beginning, I guess I'll do this one. I guess I'll take this part. Apple to Oranges, if you're into any we are strictly covering all the new Apple TV Plus content. So if you're into Ted Lasso, we do a weekly review. We've had Greg on twice.
We have, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been fun.
Greg was on for my peak episode with the crying masturbation joke.
Yep.
Was that such a good joke?
Physical, yeah.
It's all gone downhill from there, Greg.
I don't even want context for that for the listeners. I just want them to go and discover that beautiful moment for themselves.
Yeah, please,
it's
please do. I think I cracked during that moment, so
it was transcendence.
Yeah.
No, we got that, and then Jess and I do a 90s watch along podcast called the Cinedudes.
Nice.
Where if you've ever wanted to know how Jess would do a Doc Holliday impression, go to fucking Cinedudes and listen to our tombstone.
You can find
Oh
it out.
shit. All right, well, call me a fish because that's baiting me in. I'm there. I'm going to subscribe right now, actually.
Oh, I wish you would have said your name was Wanda.
Oh, damn.
A fish named Wanda. Wait, dude, that's like 60s. That's way older than 90s. Come on.
That's 80s.
What? No.
It's not 60s.
Yeah.
No.
That's 60s.
A fish
Jamie
named
Lee
Wanda is
Curtis was
80s?
a fish named Wanda is probably like, what, 85?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. My brain compresses
Yeah,
time
80,
like a motherfucker.
88. 88.
Wow.
So 2 years before the movie we just covered.
1 year. Okay. Yeah. Wow. All right.
I'm going to call you Ziggy because you're dumb.
Let's do it as our next movie.
I think I must have drank an alcohol tincture from that lab because I'm a drunk gremlin. So we should probably wrap this up. Greg, if I happened across this podcast and I didn't know how to learn how we were going to watch the next movie we were going to watch before we spoil the whole goddamn thing, how would I learn about the next movie we're going to watch?
I would recommend coming over to Instagram and finding us at Stabby Pod. Social media is pretty much a corporate bathroom, but without a lady gremlin, so it's all shitty and horrible.
Welcome
so come be
to
our
the
lady
men's room.
we can be your lady gremlin in the bathroom of social media. We announce every Wednesday what movie we're going to be watching next. New episodes come out on Mondays, so you have a few days to watch it before we spoil all of it for you.
I hope you washed your hands.
I just followed you. This is Instagram, the stall of social media.
Thank you all for joining us on this journey up Clamp Tower. And before we descend and mingle with the regular folks, you know what we like to say to people on this podcast.
Don't forget to stab your friends.